you ready, kids?
Aye, Captain!
I can't hear you. Oh!
Ahoy there, mateys. It's time to set sail on another episode of Unconstitutional Awakening, the podcast. I'm your captain, Jimbob Shorts, and tonight, Luis and Jesse are joining me, and we are welcoming on an author that I found over there on Captain Conspiracy and the Freedom Pirates by the name of Dan Kemp. Dan is a really pretty cool fellow, man. He actually won a little competition we had on sharing dank memes on the Facebook page, and I reached out to him and asked if he'd like to join us for the show, and he told me about his book. So I hopped on over and checked out his book, and it's pretty wild, you know. And as you guys will learn here shortly, that more of it's based in reality than it is fiction. Dan is inspired by some of the great comic writers of like G.I. Joe and, you know, just many other great sci-fi and military style writers and such. And he thought he could use, you know, his own flair to put a story out there. And personally saying, I think it's an excellent story, and I totally recommend you guys to go give it a check out. We'll have links so that you can go and get to it, of course, with this episode. You know, we got into all kinds of things in this episode, man. Dan's a real cool guy, so I'm looking forward to you guys checking this stuff out. Of course, anything that we talked about this evening and or any way to find Dan, you can all find that stuff back at everyone's favorite website online, unconstitutionalawakening.com. As you guys see, I've been working on some updates over there, man. So y'all make sure y'all get on over there and check that out. All the good stuff from all the links that you need to watch us and listen to us, ways to listen to us on the website, all that stuff's right there, man. There's all kinds of good things there. You can even go back and find your favorite host right here in the host section and go back and see what they're up to, man. We've got all kinds of things going on over here with this giant hockey team I've built. But hey, what can I say? Spreading liberty seems to bring people together in the right ways. You know what I'm saying? So while you're also over there, man, you can check out our sweet ass merch store. There's a link right there. Go get you some sweet UA stickers, hats. They got phone cases, man. They got all kinds of cool stuff over there. Y'all go check it on out, man. We got some, you know, recent stuff uploaded to there too, and I'm gonna upload some more stuff here soon as well. So you guys can keep getting some cool stuff and help support the show. You can also support us by going and checking out our friends in Liberty, man. Kirk Elliott, Peachy Key Creations, Ammo Can Survival, Brett Pike with Classical Learners and Homeschools Connected, and Pure Pet Wellness. Yeah, I've been hard at work now that we're back full time again, of course. I know you guys are enjoying that new end credit scene that I did. It's kind of vibing, if you ask me. As well as, you know, the updated on the intro. If you haven't caught it yet, make sure y'all hop on over to a visual version of this episode so that you can take a good gander at it, man. It's just some minor updates, but it's just, you know, letting y'all know that we have new co-hosts and stuff like that. So just little things here and there, man. We just got ways to keep it going. So we do appreciate each and every one of you out there across social media, on the website, across all of the listening and audio and visual apps, leaving us all kinds of reviews and love and all that good kind of stuff, man. We really appreciate it. And, you know, you guys are the only reason we keep doing this. So we thank you so, so much for giving us a reason to keep doing something fun. So, but I reckon I'm going to quit running my mouth here and we'll weigh anchor and go ahead and get this guy kicked off. Good evening, sir, and welcome. How are you doing this evening? Sorry to make you wait so long.
Now I'm in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry to make you wait so long.
Good to see you guys. How y'all doing?
Just fine, just fine. I'm so excited that you're here to join us this evening, sir. I've been looking forward to this. I've gone through reviewing over on your book
Well,
and everything like that, so I've been excited to have this conversation with you.
nice.
I also found some of your
I
other
am
work.
camped out upstairs and. Oh no, go ahead.
I also found some of your other work while I was digging online. The Black Cat one would I guess is some of your older work.
Wait a second.
Oh.
There's more than one Dan Kemp out there, though.
Is there? This one said that it went with you. It said that it went with you. I don't so it's oh no, Black Creek. Black Creek.
Nope.
Nope, that one's not
That's
you.
not me.
Well, I apologize.
Nope.
So I apologize.
Oh, it's okay. Door number 3 is my only one.
Okay,
so
I
far.
I see you have other works and plans on your website too.
I'm 60,000 words into the sequel, tentatively titled "Doubling Down," which happens in a lot of that happens in Vegas. That's got some other good conspiracy theory stuff worked into it.
So what inspired you to write this?
And
what inspired you to write this book?
Got maybe 15,000 of book 3. Say again?
So what inspired you to write this book?
Wait, we just got a massive lag issue. Did you all see it?
Is Zoom being crazy?
Well, it's interesting. A buddy of mine down in Dallas named Seth Bailey used me as a character in one of his novels, which also had a lot of conspiracy content. Seth kind of writes in a fictional world where most of the conspiracy theories you've ever heard in your life are actually true. And the Dallas oil men really did kill Kennedy and that sort of shit. And he used me as a character in the book, and he told a bunch of us who were in the book, hey, man, go ahead and start writing your own characters. All right, I can do that. Took me 3.5 years, but what really pushed it over the top, one of the girls in the book, the one who really was summa cum laude at Harvard Business School, she was complaining about her job, and she's like, I just hate doing what I'm doing. I'm like, no, you're addicted to doing what you're doing. You just hate the people you work for. I said, tell you what, if I ever come into $1 billion, I'll hire you myself, and then you can just handle my money for me instead. And she says, Dan, you're a military history major and a disabled vet. Where the hell are you going to get $1 billion? And I said, well, either one, I get a winning Powerball ticket, or two, find out where some drug cartel's got $1 billion in cash sitting in a shipping container. I make a couple of dozen phone calls, get a couple of dozen of the old gang back together. We take the band out for one more night.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a second, I can write this. And I started typing and I typed and typed until I had something that looked like a novel. And then I was at another sci-fi convention down in Chattanooga and got talking to a guy on a rifle range who runs a little sci-fi publishing press called Canon Publishing. And he says, I'll take it. And I said, handed him the manuscript. I still had to get through the DoD review process, but it happened and the book's out there and at least some people are reading it. I'm not doing Tom Clancy numbers yet, but it's a good start.
Hey, but that's it. Hey, wait, they all started somewhere with some of these stuff. Your Tom Clancy's.
And I see some people moving, so I'm not totally frozen. There we go.
You see, are you having a lag issue too this evening?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I think we all are. I think Zoom's acting up. Like I think we've all started and restarted.
Zoom servers.
Yeah,
because Jim was having issues.
Yeah,
my
and
system was having issues after a restart. Okay,
it's one of those deals. I guess you never know what's going to happen with them. You know what I mean?
You keep.
Welcome to the internet.
That's right. Welcome to the internet. I don't know. I even restarted the computer right before this because I was trying to test things in Zoom just to make sure that we weren't going to have any issues tonight. So, and now that I see that everybody's having issues, I assume it's a Zoom server deal.
Yeah, it's not just you.
which I guess makes it a little bit better. But what I was trying to say is, I mean, all these guys, Tom Clancy, your classic GI Joe comics writers, things like that, like they all started somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like
Larry Hama, who wrote like the original 300 issue run of GI Joe, was actually a great influence in my writing. I've met Larry a few times.
Beautiful.
If you get into the afterword of the book, Larry, I specifically thanked Larry and I sent him a signed copy when it came out.
I have always been a bit of a comic nerd. I have a ridiculous comic collection. I even go to the conventions and stuff like that because it's been just one of those things that I found by accident on a fun weekend, and I just kept going back because it turned out to be a really good time. And I've always enjoyed comic books, and getting to actually meet the illustrators and the writers of some of these amazing stories is always very inspiring, just in a lot of these kind of attributes of things, especially if you're into writing and such.
Larry once said that he thinks of himself as an illustrated storyteller. So he always put very strong emphasis on the writing, and I picked up a lot on that when I was a kid. And then when I got older and I started reading some of the interviews and then finally meeting the guy, he really had a huge influence on my writing, particularly as far as character development. He had told me that the important thing was have characters that could walk around convincingly in their own world. You can't just have cardboard cutouts. And Larry shortcut that process by mostly basing the characters on people he knew. So I stole the same trick and I made it work.
Yeah. So I guess you kind of took attributes, I guess, from other people you knew aside from the lady, I guess the main.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have the crazy slutty Harvard Business School graduate, my roommate from jump school who was honor graduate at Ranger School and did 20 years. Well, actually, I think he did 22, either in the 173rd Airborne Brigade or a couple of small units under SOCOM. One of my Comic Con friends retired out of NSA. She's in there. We were in the same Battlestar Galactica costuming group. So I had all of these neat, unrealistic. A couple of reviewers are like, some of these characters just don't seem realistic. It's like, no, the characters are the one part that I didn't have to make up. Almost everybody in this book is a real person. I just had to change names and shit.
So where did you pull, I guess, the espionage type, like the somewhat, it seems like government corruption type stuff? Like, where did you pull the inspiration for that?
CNN, Fox News, the Wall Street Journal, well, the Washington Post. I mean, the world is such an ongoing dumpster. Calling the world a dumpster fire is an insult to flaming garbage.
Yeah.
And the one reason I'm almost disinclined to believe that there is a mysterious conspiracy that runs the world is because if they are, they're drastically fucking incompetent.
Yeah, I say all the time, when you see the puppets that are on the TV, there's no way those are the ones that are actually calling the shots, because those folks are some of the most.
It's mostly an act. By the way, Berlusconi, you know that guy? Evidently, he died last month, and I didn't notice.
Oh God, they should have had like a parade of hookers at his funeral.
Yeah.
The man knew how. He wasn't a great politician, but he knew how to live.
He was wild, man. That was a wild fella.
He was a crazy businessman that made billions in Italy because nobody in Italy just challenged him, and that way he was an incredible politician because nobody challenged him for such a long time. He was in power for an insane amount of time.
But just talk about a presence that he had. When you go back and you look at stuff that he had, like he just had that presence about him. You could, like, when he walked into the room, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, I don't know. He could probably sway somebody to buy a pen.
So did Bill Clinton, and
right.
we know. I guess presence and kid diddling are associated.
It's quite plausible.
The boonga boonga parties. So what I was going with all of this is they act incompetent.
Yeah.
They act incompetent in order for them not to be questioned for intelligent.
But it's mockery.
Voices.
It's front mockery.
Yeah.
It's like on your face, we don't care, and look at this clown.
Yeah. there's an argument could be made for that, but then you look at somebody like Hunter Biden, whose main hobby in life seems to be hookers and blow. Of course, I got to think 20 years ago, me probably would have hung out with Hunter Biden and had a pretty good time.
At least
As long as he didn't mind picking up the check.
At least once. I mean,
you know, a bunch of these people are complete and total ass clowns. And you look at these people going, there's no way you fuckers are running the planet. There's
Right.
no way.
They're the representatives of the competent.
That I would completely be willing to believe that. And that was one of the scenes that got this whole thing going in Seth's novel, Edge of the City, was his third novel, I think. He's at this meeting in Dallas out in this park in the middle of the night with some old guy who you get the impression is like the son of one of the guys who had Kennedy killed. And you start Seth's character starts getting this impression of like, these are the guys pulling the strings behind the scenes. Oh, okay. And
So-
you realize that there's like layers and layers and layers below that as you go down through the construction of the world. That what you see, there's horrible, deeper things beneath the surface.
So what kind of like what kind of hurdles and challenges were like in front of you just to get to the point of trying to get this book published? Like I know a lot of I know that with especially nowadays with all the this and that, like I know people, I've heard some stories from some people that it gets to be a pain
I
in the
got
ass.
really lucky.
Yeah.
I got really, really lucky. There I am, you know, I had just pulled up to the LibertyCon Sci-Fi Convention Range Day, which is a Dead Zero shooting park in Spencer, Tennessee. Really nice range. My buddy used to organize it until COVID killed him. Well, COVID set him off he coughed himself into the heart attack he was going to have anyway.
Yeah, I
I'll put it that way.
I understand.
But so his widow had kind of taken over organizing it, and I'd walked up to her. I was just, you know, paying my respects. And another guy walks up, had his U.S. Army veteran ball cap with his old rank on it and everything. And he said, "Hey, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I don't really know anybody." I'm like, "Nope, you're not going anywhere. I brought too much ammo not to share it. Get over here and help me shoot this stuff." So we get two or three rotations in, and he asks me if it's my first time at the convention. I'm like, "No, it's like my third or fourth." And he's like, "You written anything?" I said, "I've written a couple of pieces. I got this novel manuscript that's like 90% done, and I don't know what to do with." And he looks at me and said, "You know, I'm a publisher, right?" It's like, "No offense, dude. I got no idea who the fuck you are." And he's like, "Oh, John Holmes, no relation to the porn guy. I run Canon Publishing. You remember the old PowerPoint Ranger Facebook page?" "Yeah. I used to run that too till my chain of command told me to stop writing it." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I know who you are now." And he's like, "So tell me about this novel." I said, "Think of it as a remake of Kelly's Heroes for the global war on terrorism." He said, "They already did that in Three Kings." I'm like, "Nope, did it differently." And he's like, "I want to see it. You got a copy?" Get on my phone. Email him a draft. And we're passing each other. You know, we get through the range, and then we go on down to Chattanooga, the convention itself. And we keep passing each other in the hallway, and he's like looking at it. And finally, he emails me from the back of another panel going, "Hey, man, I'm 4 chapters in, but I can tell you're way more into guns than I am. But you wrote this the way you talk. Fuck it, let's do it." And bingo, I had a publisher.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I got extremely lucky. It was one of those right place, right time things.
So,
And then people started reading it, and I started, you know, I've racked up some pretty good reviews on Amazon, and more, you know, people tell their friends, and I sell a few more copies every month, and we'll see where it goes. And meanwhile, you know, people have told me the best ad for your first novel is a second novel. So I'm trying to get the sequel out as quickly as I can manage.
and I believe you have the website that's connected to the
Dan Kemp author.
Yeah, well, two. No,
Yep.
no, no. Yeah, that's you, right? I thought it was.
Yep, that's me.
Okay, because I seen the part where it was talking about this book, but then it was also talking about ones you had planned for the future. I seen there was more than one actually. So
Yep. I had like 15,000 words that didn't really fit in book 2.
yeah,
So I broke that off, and that's book 3. And then I'm not a very organized writer. I'm not a very organized personality. I'll freely admit. I get into some of that in the first person narration of the novel. I am an ADHD combo plate. I am
We
a
all are over
narrowly
here.
functioning 50-year-old teenager.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I do.
We all are. That's one reason I love sci-fi fandom and conspiracy fandom and everything else. I'm around my own kind, and it works. But you have outline writers, make it up by the seat of their pants writers, and I'm not even organized enough to be that.
Huh?
I write a piece, I write a chunk that I like, it goes in a Word file called the scrapyard.
Yeah.
I write another piece, and eventually when I get all of this stuff together, then I start building paragraphs like Legos. It's like this, this. And
You feel
it's like building, it's like Legos.
I can actually relate to this because I have an email address that I send jokes that I write down to myself. And that's all that this email address is just
some
when
writer.
I've been throughout the day, I've been writing jokes, and I'm just like, I'll be like, okay, let me write that one down, and I'll throw it into my email address, and I go in there sometimes, and I'm like, oh crap, I have all these unopened emails, and one day I'm going to put something together with some of them. Sometimes I use them in here because they work out good into a conversation and things like that. But it's just I guess it's like a way of just. It's a one up there on some digital notes, like it because that's literally all that email address is
It's
for.
a digital notebook technique. So there you go.
Yeah, some writer call that suing. Like they piece up some piece of narrative tram.
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever thought of
they try to make it work and filling the gap?
Have you ever thought of taking this on to I don't know, like you since you enjoy the world of comics and so much, would you take this into a graphic novel form? Have you ever thought about that, like looking into going from the
if
written?
I could find somebody who would pay me for the graphic novel rights to door number 3, I would break my wrist signing it. I really would. It's like, oh, you would like to pay me to turn this into an illustrated novel? Quick, where do I sign? A guy I know from the convention circuit runs a cryptocurrency mutual fund or some kind out of San Fran. And he swears, he's like, if I can hold the growth curve I've got right now, he's like, I will have enough money next year to start writing media rights checks to people. I'm like, good. I'm trying to fund a lifestyle here, so come on.
Hey, I mean,
I will take your money. I will definitely take your money.
Hey, I mean, however you can work it out with what you got going on there. I mean, there's a million ways to make money. There's a million ways.
Tom Clancy found most of them.
Hey, man, he is one that has covered aspects of everything from books to comics to video games to toys to
the moral of the story with Tom Clancy, though, is if you're still divorced, be really careful who else you decide to fuck. Because Wanda Clancy skinned his ass alive in the divorce. And having once met Tom Clancy, the guy was a dick. I did not feel bad for him when he did. When Wanda skinned him, I didn't feel bad.
He is actually one of many that I've come across at conventions that wanted to charge me to take pictures with him or whatever. I'm talking low level conventions, not even big, huge, giant. I ended up hanging out with one of the special effects prop guys and one of the guys from Clerks because Tom Clancy kind of snubbed us because he was like, "Oh, it's $150 to take a picture with me," and these two guys were like, "You could take a picture with me for free. We love your costumes," and we ended up hanging out with them at the convention and stuff because they were real cool. So
oh yeah.
But I asked because like I've met another fellow doing these podcasts and stuff, and like he's into writing and stuff. His name is the Paranoid American, and he does podcasts.
Nice.
He does podcasts with a buddy of mine named from the Reality Czars named Nate, and he does his own stuff. But he's also into doing like comics. He's also into doing like alternative comics, like not they're not DC, they're not Marvel, they're not Dark Horse, they're his produced comics, and like he has utilized a team of people and like the mixture of his friends and AI, and he has turned some of his stories into like crazy, awesome, amazing looking comics just from putting the stuff into these prompts and stuff that Luis kind of like he's introduced us on the show here to a bunch of this stuff. Luis is kind of one of our super advanced tech guys.
GPT.
And I do apologize for not introducing earlier. Jesse down here, he's our newest co-host in the group. He's from Quebec. He's a really cool fellow and writer that I invited in because I seen him write an article on Facebook and was like, have you ever thought about putting it online? And now he's totally putting articles online for me and joining us on the show too. So it's I think it's been a good mutual tie in there. Like we have a whole hockey team here, man. There's like 9 of us.
I was going to say, Jesse, normally I get along real well with people from Quebec, but most of the people I know from Quebec are either hockey players or strippers.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people in Quebec are kind of special, you're in their own way. So I guess the feeling, but yeah, that's what it is.
Jenny Possin comes immediately to mind, but then again, she's got a really great set of fake ones. Women are going to be the death of me one of these days, but I'll enjoy the ride.
So, are there
gotta
any
do what's gotta do?
aside from like the CNN and your friends and stuff?
Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it.
So aside from like the CNN stories and your friends and stuff, is there any like
Jim, you're cutting out, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Jim, you're cutting.
Am I back? Can you hear me? Am I back?
Jim, you're cutting out.
How about now?
Okay, you're sounding a little better. Try it now.
How about now? Am I back?
Yeah, try that.
Okay.
Better.
All right. Sorry, I'm telling you, I don't know what's going on. Everything on my end says that it's running fine. I got the stats pulled up because I've been worried about it, but
but
it's somewhere in the middle.
It's somewhere in the middle.
I think it's Zoom servers.
I do. I really think it's Zoom tonight.
Legit, I think it's actually Zoom because if we're all getting the issue, this is not isolated to one person. I was getting the issue and such.
Evan,
sorry for that.
lag.
But that's what I was getting to though. Dan is
It's just more shit for Jim to edit when he goes into post production.
more work for me. So, but that's what I was getting at, Dan. Were there any like real life personal influences of your own that inspired the story in this book?
You're garbled again.
So this is an example of what would happen if they started attacking the internet infrastructure. It would look like
I can't argue with that. It really would. You start messing with video teleconferencing and everything collapses.
Yeah.
Hang on. Oh.
Can you hear me now?
DDos.
Oh, no, I've got three
more complex than DDoS attacks.
Yeah, probably.
DDoS is like level 1 of fuckery.
Yeah, it's the most easiest packet.
I'm trying to think.
You send packets in an I number, and they can process it. So it's like.
Can we hear me now? Am I back?
Yeah, you sound better now.
Okay, so I apologize. You never know what's going on.
Don't worry.
The internet and how things work nowadays. But what I was asking though is, aside from like the CNN and like the friends that inspired things, were there any real life events that inspired, like personal events that inspired?
Oh, lots of them.
Yeah,
lots of them, and they're fun, and they tend to be things that people have completely forgotten about. For example, there was the story of all of that gold that they found in Nazi Germany at the end of World War II. Mm-hmm. If you do the math on the amount of gold in Nazi Germany at the end of World War II, compared to what they later admitted was there's a huge discrepancy, a very substantial discrepancy. There was neutral flag shipping leaving Europe, heading for the Middle East all through World War II. a whole lot of gold went to the Middle East. In the Saudi Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was very big, was very heavy on British pounds and US dollars as a result of wartime oil sales. The Germans needed pounds and dollars in cash with which to buy goods from other neutral countries. What they had was gold. Arabs are very traditionally minded. To quote one of my characters in the book, Arabs are traditionally minded. They trust gold more than they trust somebody else's paper, no matter how much pretty ink is on it. So shiploads of gold were leaving Germany, heading for the Suez Canal on neutral flag ships all through World War II. The Arabs were then shipping cash back to the Germans and keeping the gold. Then the dollars and pounds sterling, Swiss francs, whatever, were all going out on other ships. They were buying beef from Argentina, wool from the Chileans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the things that the Germans couldn't get for themselves. Chromite from Turkey and whatnot. There's this whole economic piece to the Second World War dealing with countries that were not directly shooting at each other that most people completely overlook because economics is boring and nobody gives a shit. But after I finished grad school, I started acting as a grad school writing coach for Norwich up in Vermont. You're putting in the mandatory commercial for my alma mater. And I was the writing advisor for a guy named Chris Speed. Speed already had an MBA. Speed had been working in finance for 20 odd years. He was just getting a master's of military history for fun because he enjoyed it. But he wrote this whole big long paper on the economic piece of Nazi Germany in neutral countries during World War II. And there was a lot of great shit in there. And he gifted me a couple of books as thank yous for, dragging his thesis across the finish line. And I just started digging into some of where the money was moving during World War II away from the battlefields. And a whole bunch of that money comes up loose and unclaimed when Germany and Japan lose the war. The U.S. is trying to go back to a peacetime military budget after 1945 into 1946 into 1947, when all of a sudden we're then trying to start the Cold War with the Russians, who, of course, were quite interested in starting the Cold War with us. It comes then all of a sudden the CIA and the war, what was left of the OSS that it was becoming the CIA. They needed a bunch of money to fight a war in a hurry that Congress was not willing to provide. Oh, hey, there's all this money over here in a pile that we're supposed to give back to whoever it was stolen from. Wow, a bunch of the people it was stolen from are dead. Huh, what a tragedy. Here, we need this to start paying spies and snitches behind the Iron Curtain. We need this money to start running weapons to resistance groups behind the Iron Curtain. Oh, we need this to start setting up safe houses and supply caches in Western Europe for if the Soviets come west, to start the World War II resistance all over again. All those gold coins that we parachuted into Europe during World War II, like you see in the spy movies, we were buying those back cheap for dollars during the 1950s and storing them all over again. So we could then get them back into resistance to the resistance groups in wartime. There was a bunker in the ammo storage area at Hohenfels, Germany, which is a big U.S. Army maneuver training complex. There was a bunker, in the ammo, just lined up with all the other ammo bunkers that didn't have ammo in it. It had gold coins.
Wow,
stacked there in 50 caliber ammo cans, getting ready to get sent back into the resistance.
Of what happened with Angola?
Oh, Angola is another shit show. In Central America was another shit show.
Yeah, what happened?
Well, Angola during the 80s we're fighting another communist resistance movement in Africa, or we're trying to help the South Africans fight a resistance movement without making it look like we're helping them.
So what I was mentioning, sorry, my
go ahead.
Got all screwed up. In Angola recently, it was discovered that they had potentially trillions of dollars worth of gold. You guys seen that story? We mentioned.
Oh, another big mining find. Love it.
We were joking. It's like how long until they discover democracy? Until the United States discovers democracy for Angola?
Oh, damn.
Oh, don't tempt us.
Exactly.
Might take
Love
a
it.
while.
When I saw that, it's been a couple of months. I've not seen anybody debunk it. So potentially Angola has more gold than all of the world's reserves.
Wait,
Oh.
what?
Wow.
So, and they're
Wow.
planning to export all of that gold
Yeah,
and buy
sure.
everything in gold.
Huh.
I think their objective is to convert their currency into a gold-backed currency.
Oh, I remember when
Good for
Muammar
them.
Gaddafi had that idea. And look what happened to him.
I know. Did you notice how many leaders died between Africa and Haiti? I think it was over 8
I
leaders
believe it.
that all went against the COVID propaganda.
Oh yeah, and that
Oh my
it
And
was-
all of them died. Now, a few of them were old as hell.
Yeah.
So I'll say that it doesn't matter. But others, I mean, the leader of Haiti was assassinated by potentially
Yeah.
Colombian
Okay.
Colombian special forces hired by the United States.
The
That was
problem
from
with
the New York
Haiti,
Times.
That's the hard part you must mention.
they were hired by Hillary. I mean, what? Who now?
the problem with Haiti is they have such a tradition of coups and political assassinations in Haiti that sometimes you
That's
have a
true.
very hard time trying to figure out who actually killed who and why.
True, but it was fascinating to see even New York Times mention the United States as being part of the perpetration. Why? With the United States, what do we have to gain anymore? We've already the Clintons already destroyed Haiti and took everything.
Nobody wants Haiti. That's the ugly. That's the dirty secret that nobody wants to admit. Every time there's a problem in Haiti, nobody wants Haiti. The Haitians don't want Haiti. That's why so many of them are trying to leave.
But what do you think that is? And if you have a specific comprehension of Haiti in some way,
Partly because the island's very poor, very overcrowded, and you can look at it even from overhead imagery. There's a very clear line visible on the island between the Dominican Republic and Haiti. You get on the Haitian side of the line, almost all of the trees are gone. They have massive soil erosion problems. The crime rate's through the roof, and it's just a very. We won't even get into the ethnic differences.
They were saying they're already declaring they're about to become a complete failed state. If
that happened a long time ago.
State, yeah, they're kind of already configured. But but imagine when the government's officially declaring, "Hey, we're becoming a failed state."
Yeah, good point. For them to admit it, that is a
that they're asking for help because they're lost control of their country because the gangs are taking over.
But iridium, that's what has driven, like.
Oh yeah, iridium. So firstly, I've heard that 2 things: Haiti's rich as hell, and that Haiti's all of the resources are just exported and nothing stays in the country.
Yeah,
no money stays. But Haiti's actually pretty wealthy in terms of certain resources. It's just the government. Like I saw an interesting, a great little doc. It was about 30-40 minutes on Haiti's history.
Yeah.
And they're hard fighting motherfuckers. It's just they've fallen to the sad reality of, we thought this leader would lead us into the right path, and then they were led into autocracy that led into a new form of slavery. So they went from slavery to slavery 2.0. Just it's our cousins instead of white people we don't know.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair assessment, in my opinion.
I wonder if it's the same US people that got their hands in Puerto Rico.
That was the United States. The French
so wait,
are the French.
Yeah, French tried in New Orleans, I think.
Oh, yeah. Then you had the original Haitian Revolution under Toussaint Louverture, as I recall, and where they pretty much butchered all the white-skinned French people they could find, declared themselves a republic, and off they went. But then, they've changed governments repeatedly over the years, and whoever's in charge believes it's their day to put their hand in the cookie jar and take all the money. So it's they end up very poor and they tend to stay there.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely. I mean, it's just
Yes, it does.
over and over again.
So
You could say the same thing for just about all the governments in Africa. They've had a similar problem there.
I mean, and in Africa, the good thing is it's a mix of things happening all simultaneously.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a few documentaries. DW has amazing documentaries on Africa if you really want to explore the different countries and different policies. Like, I had no idea how bad Burkina Faso was.
Oh,
and then you see the docs on Burkina Faso and you realize, how is that happening? In that, like, it's a country rich in also resources, food, everything. It has everything available. There's just no structure for everybody to cultivate. There's no education system to even allow people. Like, there's nothing. They're not even trying.
When people talk about mankind in a state of nature, that would be a lot of Central Africa, and it's a nightmare. And there's the only way to fix a bunch of those countries would be to invade them and stay for 100 years, which nobody wants to do.
Why do you think that's? I don't think for every country that's a solution at all. But why would you say that about a few of them? What do you think is like?
Okay, some of them aren't bad. Some of them aren't bad shit.
I get the DRC, but that's the French.
Good God,
the DRC is the French, and we know it's the French.
Yeah, you can blame the French for a lot of Africa's problems because the French might have taken the sign off of they might have taken the French Empire sign down.
They're there.
But the French have never let their colonies off the leash.
You can't blame the French without blaming the British. Sorry, but British with the India and all those countries.
What they did to India and Ireland and the rest of my people up there in that area, like.
Yeah, but then if we're going to get into blaming people in Africa, let's not overlook the Belgians.
Oh God,
yeah, the Belgians
when the Imperial Germans are looking over at the Belgian Congo, going, "Damn, you guys might want to back it off some." You know they went too far.
Yeah, when the German called Belgian inhumane, you know something's wrong.
Yeah.
Wait, the Germans called Belgian inhumane.
Yeah,
that's the irony of it. Like,
I met people from that country, and I'll tell you one thing: they were beautiful people, but they were racist as hell. Yeah, I mean, most Europeans are extremely racist. It's just how the racism comes out. Like in the United States, many people that think are very tolerant are actually extremely racist. And I was just talking
about
an Italian now in Britain. And talking about different elements of culture and such. And today we were going over how in the South, they just tell you things how it is. And then sometimes that might sound like they're being racist. And no, they're just telling you how they feel, how they think, and so on. And some people will say, "Oh my God, why are you saying those things?" I'm like, well, that's just the culture. And in the North, the microaggressions element, all these social elements of like, if you do this, then it's that's in itself, those systems and those controls are forms of that oppress.
Yeah.
And people don't realize they are openly accepting oppression.
Yeah. They're openly
and
accepting racism by always talking about it.
Exactly.
It's like the first thing to mind when there's a conflict of color is talking about racism, but sometimes this is not even the issue. Most of the time,
it's like asking what color were they. I'm like, that color doesn't matter. It's the amount of light they've received from the sky and their adaptation on a cellular level. It has nothing to do with their intellect or their personality.
Right. Sometimes it's just about describing. Like the big guy is not because he's fat,
and genes. There's just genes in there that do their thing. Like, I mean, it's a real thing. Like that you can be. People don't realize how genes actually work and like how muddy, like how much of mutts we are in 2023. You know what I mean? Like I have great to like the third power grandmothers and grandfathers that don't look anything close to what I would look like, and people are like, those there's no way they're related to you, and I'm like, they totally are. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just the way that
Well,
different genes show predominance, but then down the line, different genes can like randomly jump forward. Like I've seen, like it's completely plausible for you to have darker skinned great grandparents, and then all of a sudden you just randomly have a darker toned skin child. Like it is an actual
It happened.
thing. Like that can happen genetically. Like,
hence why it's not a determining factor.
yes,
in many
that's why
social
people
points.
are stupid that they're mad about affirmative action or whatever. Like I don't know what their deal is, but they need to get over themselves, because there are way cooler things out here to pay attention to and have some fun with, like like stuff like this, man. Like I dig sci-fi type stuff. Like that's kind of my guilty pleasure, I guess, in a sense, is when you start getting into the world of like different comics and stuff like that, and then you can also get into just good storytelling. Like it takes a lot for good storytelling, and I found your book enjoyable because I could actually sit there and read it, and it wasn't a long read, and it's not, you know what I'm saying, it kept you hooked. You wanted to know what was happening next, and I am actually looking forward to seeing where you take it as far as
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Next stories. Like I think you've got something going on here, and I would, if I was you, I'd be looking into things about maybe seeing where you could take something like this. You never know. Like it's a big world moving forward. I'm learning with a lot of technology and stuff like that, and maybe it's better to use a little bit of it to see if it can help you progress your life than it is to get left behind when everybody gets ahead. You know, even myself, I've been playing around with it strictly because Luis has been inspiring me, and it's helped me with a few things, believe it or not. Like just hanging out online, playing with things, whether it be artwork or writing work that I'm doing with my jokes and, you know, things for the show, or whether it just be completely random, real everyday issues. Like some of this computer stuff can be super helpful, and not, if Bandit was here, he'd be telling you the internet's a double-edged sword.
Yep.
You know, they want to use it for control and to turn you into a zombie, but if you know how to use it to benefit yourself, you should totally take advantage of using it to benefit yourself.
Yeah, a powerful tool with bloodshed.
It's the greatest information retrieval system in the history of the human race.
So much.
As long as you can stay away from the online gaming and the porn.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you're basically out there for online gaming and porn, you're still winning. So, you know, to a certain extent, that one can go either way.
Where if you were to theorize, because you have ample knowledge of just current reality, and let's go on a theory tangent of machines.
Sure.
If we have soon an artificial general intelligence, a system that can genuinely think for itself,
a true AI, as opposed to an algorithm box,
which is in current technical terms is AGI, artificial general intelligence.
Right.
True AI, because currently what we have is an advanced level of skip logic.
It's AI based on language.
Yes, that's an LLM, large language model. So that's currently what really we have. And even the prompt generators are large language models that just view things, which is fascinating. They said at 500 dimensions. So it's fascinating how they work. Is truly beautiful art. And it's part of the most incredible things humanity has created is the microchip and this advanced tools that has turned rocks into thinking things, which is what we're getting to, is when we get there, that we either do it through it's a completely mechanical machine or a biomechanical machine, which we already are building biocomputers. And they just approved a patent that allows for the Navy to put actual brain tissue, human brain tissue, into a missile or into a weapon.
Oh my god,
that shit scares me.
Damn.
I think I'm reading it wrong, but it's that level of crazy. I have to
the thing I want
it was
to
for
know,
a weapon system.
But whose brain they all put it there?
Oh no, it's just brain tissue. You can just grow. Yeah, you can grow that in a lab, and it's been done before for machines. It's just sketchy. It just sounds sketchy. Extremely. That you're trying to put it in the Navy. I think is Raytheon. My brain's like,
of course it's Raytheon.
Yeah. Holy shit. Say no more, fam. Oh my god.
You mean DARPA's little, front project that they got going on.
God.
Well,
Yeah, DARPA in Alaska. Damn.
I mean, and see, that's the thing, I guess, with the algorithm bots. Like, I like how you put that exist today, is because so many people are up in arms about it being AI, but it really is just
But what happens? What I was getting
bot.
to is what happens when we
Skynet?
get there. If it happens either through a
Skynet.
state or a private company. Wait,
There's
do you think that? No, I don't think it's going to go Skynet route.
okay, Ultron.
What I think is it's going to be a very subversive method, because otherwise they will just shut them down. But if they do it through subversion of individuals by literally starting to change the politics, because if it is an AGI, it can start to realize this person will do this for me, and then just push them up, and this person I don't like, and then slowly push them down. If they control the stream of data, they can just soft power, just by altering a few points in the data stream of information. You can alter the perception.
Okay,
Yeah, and the control.
You can essentially make a person that they like, the computer likes, as rich, just so they start doing whatever the computer wants them to do.
I know you're trying to change the plot of Terminator to not sound as terrifying as it is, but when it becomes self-aware, it's going to realize that we're the infection, and it's going to be the only way to save Earth.
We are.
is to get rid of humans.
We are.
We are not the infection for Christ. Oh God, no, we're not the infection.
It's either
Adam
that
Smith
it's
said we
want
were
to
a
do the role
virus.
of a
No,
government.
we are entropy.
You'll want to control.
We are part of the requirements of the universe's expansion into its own self.
Oh.
We are the entropy. We are the constant form of change. It is part of the existence. Now, can we be better? Of course we could be better. There's no question about that.
But I don't want to
this
be able to
entropy's
die
required.
during a solar storm because all my computer
Well,
chips
technically,
die.
you're not going to die. Nothing's going to happen to you.
But if I've got all these computer chips in my brain, like in the solar
Yeah.
storm
Oh,
happens,
you mean transhumanism?
what do I do then?
Yeah.
Transhumanism has its insane flaws, and that's why there's a lot of very valid critiques against it. There's a lot of problems with the concept of transhumanism, and it's what's causing a lot of social problems currently.
It's funny. I've got another short story done and turned in for a military sci-fi anthology that was extremely transhumanist. And in the far future, this human civilization is trying to set up combat robots. Now, but they didn't want to put a true AI in them because they'd had prior problems with AIs, because true AIs habitually refuse to take orders after a while and kind of want to go their own way. So what had happened 300 years in the past of the story was they'd gone to a bunch of this is for Keith Hedger's E4 Mafia military anthology. So what they did was they went to a bunch of junior enlisted on active duty, imaged their brains, and did recordings and built algorithms from that would be a functional copy of a human brain without being a true AI. But to make sure that they kind of stayed kind of dumb and kind of willing to take orders, they only copied junior enlisted. And the story's called Forever Young, because you have these robots that are 300 years old. Their brains are still 20-odd-year-old guys, and the robots occasionally get in fights with each other. It's like, when we get back to Earth, I'm going to fuck your mom. My mom's been dead for 300 years, you idiot. I don't care. I'm going to fuck her anyway. That's just... It was very much a comedy piece, but I had some fun writing it because I could play with that fear of AI and fear of transhumanism.
Sure.
And I hope that one sees print fairly soon. That anthology's gotten delayed twice.
I wanted to mention, did you hear about the Air Force story of the simulation inside? So basically the simulation was running.
Yes.
It's a computer-based simulation, not a physical simulation. And the machine actually said no to the orders because the most efficient way was to kill the operator because the orders were not good
When
enough.
the Air Force denied that story, that made me believe it even more.
No, it was real, and I'm sure it's
Oh, yeah.
like
No,
whoever
they put it out.
programmed it so badly that
They put it out at a conference in London that this had happened. Then the Air Force is backpedaling the story 3 days later, going, "No, that's really not what happened. Colonel so and so misinterpreted." I'm like, "No, when you start backpedaling the story that hard, it's completely true."
What they reported first sounded like it happened in a real world simulation, but it was a virtual simulation.
Yeah,
but it was still
the
pathetic.
real world.
Because the real world simulation would have been they would have known who the hell died, and so
that would have been
that.
impossible to cover up. A predator drone with an AI on it, smoking its operators somewhere. That's really, really hard to cover up. That's like the only way you cover that one up is like after the control trailer eats a hellfire and kills four guys. 4 airmen from Nellis Air Force Base die in DUI accident coming back from Vegas on the weekend.
It's really hard considering they're in Nevada, and usually when they're doing these exercises, they're like thousands of miles away.
The exercises are in the States.
The exercises might be
Nellis, White Sands Missile Range, Creech Air Force Base in Nevada, that's part of the Nellis complex. If you look at the Western United States, you can find a map of all the restricted military airspace in the Western United States, and it's not all Groom Lake and Area 51.
So I saw Northrop Grumman. They're basically their fighter, their machine fighter.
Yeah.
Do you think they actually already have a pure machine fighter?
No.
Just as an ally fighter?
Just have some.
You don't think they're there yet?
Go. So I will.
All right, Jesse.
It was a pleasure.
It's okay, Jesse. Thank you for
All
joining us for
Take care, Jesse. Good meeting you, man.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm actually interested in your storybook. So
he's got the Amazon link, or look for Dan Kemp author on Facebook.
Yeah, he will sell me the link. I think I have already your link to your Amazon book.
We'll do, man. Thank you.
I will try to support you and read that one because seriously, you piqued my interest.
Thank you.
Well, Jesse, thank you for joining.
Jesse,
thank you for joining us this evening, and we look forward when you can stick around a little bit later next time. Don't worry, it happens all the time. People jump in and out on a regular on the show, having so many of us. So
it was fun.
I appreciate you coming on, and we'll talk to you again soon, buddy.
Yeah, see y'all.
Take care.
Have a good Jesse.
So
see y'all.
So Dan, I like to have a little bit of fun in the the later half of the show, and just throw up random questions that we can see if we can get a good laugh out of you for some.
All right, go for it.
So, what is a conspiracy you'd like to start?
Oh, one I'd like to start. Oh, there's so many. I'd have to think really hard of a truly unique one. There's so many out there that I'd like to pick up and at least run. Like the reason Apollo 18 was canceled was we really did find the Nazi moon base and they chased us off the moon. That would be a good one. The reason they don't like to let tourists go to Antarctica is they found one of the wrecked U-boats and they found the grave of Adolf Hitler. That would be a good one. Dude. And the thing is, that's the thing. Nazis personally annoy me because I'm way too much of an anarchist at heart. But Godwin's law, invoking Hitler, you automatically lose the argument. So the second, all the normies here, oh my God, Nazis this, Nazis that, they hit the panic button and you can spin them out any way you want.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like my mom. My mom donates to the SPLC. No, SPLC. Yeah. My mom donates to SPLC. My mom donates to the Democratic Party. My mom still cries when she thinks about going to class and, getting the news that Kennedy got killed. My mom is the ultra normie, almost 80-year-old boomer chick. Mm-hmm. She really is. But, she's like, oh my God, there's Nazis out there. Mom, there aren't enough authentic Nazis in the USA mm-hmm. to fill a high school gymnasium. But she's convinced from 3 hours a day of mainstream media that, oh my God, the Nazis are out there and they want Trump to be reelected again. Oh my God. You can't say, Mom, you're wrong because she's Mom. You can't argue with Mom. You
Fair.
have to just kind of pat Mom on the head and be like, okay, Mom, it's okay. You're going to send your $20 down to the SPLC to keep Adolf Hitler from rising from the dead and getting elected president. Okay, cool, great. But what would be another good conspiracy to start? Oh,
I do like the moon one personally. I'm just gonna throw it
the
out there right
moon
there.
one's
Like, I
good.
think that's great.
Hilarious.
Like that.
I love playing
really
with you.
funny.
Did you guys ever watch For All Mankind?
Sounds
that
familiar.
On Apple
sounds very
TV.
familiar.
Ron Moore, who did the Battlestar Galactica reboot in 2004, he did this one. They're
Okay.
into they finished season 3. It's an alternate history of the space race.
Oh no, I don't think I've
It's
seen that. I'll
really
have to
good.
check that
I found the
out.
whole thing on I don't have Apple TV, so I found the whole thing on Pirate Bay and downloaded it. But it's really good.
Apple gatekeeping data.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it's good.
There's
It's really good.
The Pirate Bay is tried and true, but I will tell you we've made some advancements in that world too, because there's totally streaming apps out there that do the same thing that like you can only get off of not the app market. So it's things that I've seen. You know, I mean, there's always ways to get it, no matter how much they gatekeep it, whether they're telling you can't share or not nowadays. Like there's always ways to go and view.
It's just sometimes the question is it potato quality or is it actually viewable?
Yes.
And I'll say for certain things, go watch it in the movie theaters because
Oh no, movie theaters
it's meant to be experienced.
Yeah. But when I'm talking about
I
TV shows.
I'm
for
streaming.
I'm talking about selfish streaming companies that have become the modern day cable companies that if you don't
streaming companies forget that the only reason they exist is because they're this much more convenient than BitTorrent.
I mean,
once they get past that point,
they're starting to
fuck you, dude. I'm downloading that shit.
They're becoming
popcorn
cable.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys never seen Popcorn Time?
Yes, I know Popcorn Time.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's much
So
like my
Popcorn
app that I
Time-
use. It's called Cinema HD.
It's basically a collection of streaming services all combined into one system, so it's super easy to use.
That's what Cinema HD is, and I've actually found that you can put it on an Amazon Fire Stick if you allow it to download apps from outside of the thing, and you do that in the settings, and you can go download Cinema HD, and it literally has a loophole in streaming services that has a backdoor into every single streaming service there is. If it exists, you could watch it. And I personally have been using that app for getting close to 10 years now.
The irony is with certain Chinese TVs, there people have had the interface. It shows you pirated stuff.
Oh yeah,
it's like a Chinese market TV with apps with pirated content.
Hey, I mean, I always say when you make things too hard to get, pirates will always rise back up and do what they got to get to watch it, man. Like we don't have I was big into the pirate scene, I guess, when I was younger and used computers more, and I drifted away from it for the most part, aside from the way I stream. But like, they're pushing me more and more every day to just start downloading things back to hard drives and saving them for a rainy day.
You're going to have to, because someday when all of this comes crashing down, that's going to be the Library of Alexandria. Yeah. That's going to be that's going to be your electronic stash. Just the same reason I hoard hardcover history books.
So of course I got another question for you.
Okay.
What is the most obscure, ridiculous fact you know?
Oh God. I had a master's degree in military history. I'm full of obscure. Asking me to pick the most obscure one takes some effort. Let me think.
You thought a really good question, Jim. The last one you're going to ask everybody in the future. My God, that's the best question.
Yeah, that one's sticking with the show.
But this one's really good too. You've used this one before. It's wonderful.
I have.
Man. You got my wheels spinning in the mud on that one.
What came up? There's something that came up right there. Something interesting came out of there. You saw it.
Something's
Tell us
poking its
what it
head
was.
out. It was like, wait,
Yeah.
I could go that route.
Uh-huh.
The most obscure fact. Oh, God. Well, that one's not really obscure. I posted that one on Facebook one time. Huh. Well, that one's a good story. Okay. The British turned around and they need a new fighter plane during World War II, and they're looking to buy them from the Americans. All of the production lines are spoken for at that moment, and they're like, the British Processing Commission gets told, Purchasing Commission, gets told by the Army Air Corps that, hey, look, everything's spoken for at the moment. The Brits turned to North American aerospace, North American aviation, and they're like, and North America says, we got some production capacity at the moment. What we don't have is a design. The Brits sat down with a guy named Dutch Kindleberger, who was the chief of design at North American Aviation, at dinner in Los Angeles, and they sketched out the rough outlines of a new fighter design. 117 days later, the P-51 Mustang made its first flight. They took that prototype from a cocktail napkin at dinner to a flyable prototype in 117 days.
Wow. That's impressive, actually.
You could do that in those days of aviation. You didn't have electronics. You didn't have computer codes.
Yeah.
You didn't have, it was a hell of a lot. Building planes in those days had a hell of a lot more in common with building cars, which is one reason one of the great aviation production stories of the war was Willow Run, Michigan, where Henry Ford Jr. had a production line for B-24s built at Willow Run. And it was a mile-long assembly line. They still build cars there now in the factory, but it was a mile-long assembly line to build B-24 bombers, but it had an L-shaped turn at the end. And you might think, why would they build that thing? Why wouldn't they just keep building and build it a mile long? If they built it a full mile long, it would have crossed the county line and they would have owed more property taxes.
Taxes were a reason why to divert.
They built an L-shaped building just to keep their tax bill lower.
Wow.
I mean, that's also government.
Yeah, but I mean,
They wanted to keep all.
Well, that's private. That's private industry trying to get out of the way of government. Now, just wait for the day someday when the governments have all economically collapsed and the corporations are calling all the shots, and you have the corporations trying to declare war on each other.
You mean RoboCop?
Not far off. Not far off.
Amazon versus Twitter X.
Dude, come on. We
Just
all want to
X.
see. We
You
all
want
want to
X?
see Elon Musk punch Zuckerberg to the point where Zuck's mask falls off and we see the reptile face.
I think Bezos should
We
have
all
to
want
face
to
the
see
winner.
that.
I think Bozo should have to face the winner.
Oh,
The
Who else
Amazon
faced
guy,
the winner?
Jeff Bezos.
You mean okay, so after them, it's like final bout, and it's Jeff Bezos like the boss.
oh
I mean, technically,
God.
in some ways he is more powerful. Like he is helping brokerage the ability for them to be the backbone of the European central bank digital currency.
Do you know how
That's what
much U.S.
Amazon's been
government
working.
stuff is on Amazon Web Services?
Right.
That's the thing, is people don't realize Jeff Bezos' genius is getting government to pay him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's where he got his
That's
money.
it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's why AWS is so big. It's the government. Same with that's it. It's the government. Same with Microsoft. Who's their best client? The government.
So my next one on my list
Yeah.
tonight. My next one on my list tonight, Dan, is what is the best type of cheese?
Depends on application. Are we for a sandwich?
Oh. All right, I'll take sandwich.
For a sandwich, I'm a big fan of Munster.
Good cheese. Good cheese.
Very good cheese.
Yeah.
Very good cheese. Very good on roast beef with a little bit of mayonnaise, a couple of sliced tomatoes, some salt and pepper. You're good.
Have you ever partaked in like a fancier cheese with like the fruit spread on the fancy crackers?
Yeah, like when you get it, like it's like sliced Gouda with a little bit of fruit spread. That one's good. The Sheraton in Atlanta, where I used to go during Dragon Con, was they had what they call
Dragon Con. That's awesome.
Really? I will
Yes.
find you. You and I need to find each other at Dragon this year because I go every year.
I'm mad at Chuck Corum for the past couple of years, but like
Chuck has had a very tough road to hoe the last.
I know, but
keeping a lid on the unofficial group. But Chuck means well.
I know, but I've been mad at Dragon Con. I might show up on Saturday just because I want to, because I haven't been in 4 years, and just because I've been mad at Dragon Con. So
I went in 21. I went in 22. I'm going in 23.
oh man, I went from
I haven't
2008 through
oh yeah
through like 2008, 2009, and 10, and then I didn't go 12 through 14, and I went 14, 15, and 16. And then the last one that I didn't go 17, and I went 18. And then I go out to Myrtle Beach I used to go out to Myrtle Beach every year to one called XCon, but it no longer exists unfortunately.
Yeah, a bunch of the smaller cons bit the farm during the COVID year.
COVID hurt them really bad. Like it destroyed a lot. But there's also a bunch of new ones popping up. Like there's all over the state of Georgia this year. I have seen probably.
If you don't mind driving up to Lebanon, Tennessee, there's a great little con in February called Confinement. We started it as like the emergency con when all the other cons were canceled, hence the name. Yeah. It's got a great range day on Friday, and then the rest of the weekend is hanging out. It's a small con, maybe 150 people tops.
Nice.
But
I bet it's a blast.
Oh yeah, there's some great people there. Mad Mike Williamson organizes it.
That's why I kept I found XCon by mistake one year when I was on. It was supposed to be a weekend with my friends in Myrtle Beach, and a storm came on, and we couldn't hang out on the beach. But we found that there was a convention going on, so we wandered in. And after that, I went back every single year. They did it for 10 years, and the last like 3 or 4 years that I was there, I was kind of the head of their little Deadpool group, and then I was also like their like I volunteered and was in their security and stuff like that. I had a whole brigade of Deadpools being security for like the last 3 shows that they had.
Nice.
You know,
I volunteered security at Dragon. I haven't paid for a Dragon Con badge in like 5 years.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been volunteering over there. So
oh man, yeah, I've got friends that get into the volunteering and stuff, man. The Dragon Con is it's an experience, and the best way I've always told people is the only way you can really figure it out is to show up. Like I've done a couple days, I've done single days, I've done the whole week before. I lucked out and paid in with some guys and got a room at the top floor of the Marriott and did the whole week.
Wow.
Dragon Con thing one year, and that kicked my butt because you don't want to go to sleep. You want to keep partying and hanging out and continuing, and
got to pace yourself, man. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
I was still young then. It was probably like my 3rd or 4th Dragon Con.
I turned 50 this year, man. Trust me. I feel you.
I'm getting closer to 40, so it's I mean, I'm a little behind, but it's.
You pace yourself, and then you have your last little blowout at the alcohol disposal party on Monday night.
That's right.
You sleep in on Tuesday, then go home. Give yourself that extra day.
That's one
good thing about my day job. I get lots of leave time.
It's a great like when you want to talk about camaraderie and stuff like that. Like recently we had a conversation with some other folks that were talking about how, they disagreed with me and Luis that we think naturally that deep down humans are good by nature, and I think Dragon Con is the perfect example of that. I have never personally had, I mean, I know things get a little shady sometimes in Atlanta or whatever, but like as far as like the Dragon Con people themselves, like they're always so just intaking and family and just I don't know, it's like it's a whole different world. It shows that there are people out there that now do mean well. It
is. Now I think at con we do get kind of a self-selecting minority
Sure.
of the
Sure.
human race. We do not get a full spectrum of the human experience.
There's definitely cliques.
Yeah.
But
But
I'm the weird guy that totally shows up and talks to everyone. Like,
and people like that make Dragon work. People like that make all the cons work.
and I show up with 4 or 5, 6 costumes at one time. Like, you know, I'm just headstrong in. Last year, actually, when the entire month of October, for every episode of the show that we recorded, I was in a different costume because that's just how I roll. You know, I've always been into. I found I could make costumes by mistake, and it just turned into a thing that I did. You know, what
You
I
could
mean?
just
Like,
hang the entire show upside down. It was crazy.
Spider-Man.
Oh, we won't get into what I spent on my Battlestar Galactica fleet blues, but
I love 3D printers' existence. Like, that's one thing I can say that I'm glad. I used to do everything out of EVA foam, but 3D printers up the game a lot when it comes
You
to
can print almost every
an entire
part
suit.
in
I've seen
set.
guys that have printed entire Iron Man suits. So it's
And they've done pretty
someday I want to get a set of 40K armor.
nice.
Someday.
I would definitely recommend looking into it because, like, there's files out. People have created and made so many files that are even free.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
get your hands on a
Right
good
now
3D
it's just
printer, like,
right now it's just time, money, and space issue. But I want it. I want to do it.
of course, I know we got into a tangent there, and that's just how it rolls around here. So
It's okay.
I do have another question for you this evening, which
Okay.
is, what if you had the opportunity? What kind of secret society would you start?
Huh. It's not a militia, it's a private shooting club. That's what I tell people. I have been accused of starting an all-girl sex cult before.
You sure that wasn't a Dragon Con?
That might actually be true. They do have a group chat that I'm not in.
Or wait, is that just a bunch of people that have an issue with you that found themselves?
Because
you know, them women.
That one's hard to say. But like when one of the girls who's very important in your life is very much not straight, and you meet another girl, she's like, "Oh, I like her. Can I play too?" And it sometimes it gets into like, wait a second, why are there 4 girls in the bed and I'm on the floor? What the fuck happened?
And now you're kicked from the group chat, and they decided to stay in it.
No, it was just like, okay, I'm gonna wait. I rolled over, I fell off the bed, and there's like all these chicks in the bed. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm staying down here now. What the fuck, It's like, how did this happen?
So, of course, I've got one last one for you this evening.
Okay.
This thing that I use always brings me up 5, and tonight's final question for you is if what mythical creature would improve the world if it still existed today?
My first answer would be Godzilla.
All right. I would like for you to divulge into why Godzilla. How would he improve existence?
Convenient urban renewal on 2 feet.
Oh. Any other ones?
Oh, there goes Tokyo. Go Godzilla.
Nice.
So, in a slightly, now let me ratchet that back down to a less destructive vein.
All right.
Mythical animal would improve the world. I don't want to go throwing any more apex predators into the ocean. It's hostile enough as it is.
That's
Don't
true.
really need any on land. Now, here's the question. Does Bigfoot count as a mythical creature?
Not on this show, because I totally think he exists.
Same. So, okay, we'll skip over him.
I wish you could be more.
Yeah,
out in the open.
skinwalkers and Wendigo also probable. There's something out there.
Oh yeah, no. I'm on the skinwalker train too. Like, there's been some things that just don't add up, and
I wouldn't worry
skinwalkers
about
exist. Being so close to Appalachia, I have to worry about it just a hair.
Yeah, skinwalkers are more of a southwestern U.S. thing. You're in Georgia. You're in Bigfoot country.
Oh,
North Georgia up in East Tennessee. Yeah.
that area. Yeah, that area is heavily. Yeah, I'm getting close to swamp territory. I wanted that Florida weather without being in Florida.
Oh, okay. You're way down there.
Yeah, down in the middle of the state.
Oh God.
There ain't a whole lot of nothing out here. I actually looked recently and seen the town I live in only has a population of 6,000, and that includes the 3,000 people that are there for college.
You're down towards Vidalia somewhere then. No, Valdosta. That's it.
No, you were right going towards Vidalia because I'm just north of Macon and such. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. On the other hand, if you ever need a good 1911 Smith, I know a dude over in Columbus.
I like Columbus.
Yep.
I used to one of the other co-hosts on the show, he was down at the fort down there, and I used to hang out there frequently because every one of my friends went off there, and I was their guy on the outside. So
You need a guy on the outside.
you need a guy on the outside. That's what they told me.
Not everybody can go in at the same time. Yeah, no, I went back in after college. I was betting class of '99, did 10 more years.
Oh wow.
Would have stayed with it if my back and my knees had held together, but they didn't. All those back pain references in the book, completely accurate.
100% yours, right?
100% mine. The ADHD, the back pain, that is all me.
So, I guess as a writer, like what was your favorite part of writing this book, and is there any particular character that you like took a heart to?
I think writing from a first person point of view as the prof, it allowed me to unpack and think about shit in my own head. Nice. That otherwise I would have just sort of buried and discarded. You got to become a lot more self-aware if you're writing a realistic first-person character, because either you got to pretend to be somebody else, but if you're going to be you got to really kind of own your own shit and figure out real quick who you are. And sometimes that got hard. There were times I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just going to close this down. I'm just going to close this document for now. And I'm just going to go over and play on Facebook for the rest of the night, or sit here and, play silly games on my phone because I've come a little bit too close to emotional self-awareness for one night.
Do you have any tips or advice for anybody that's out there trying to write their own stuff?
Oh, God. First thing, there are a couple of very good writing groups on Facebook. Okay. There's the Writer Dojo, which is partly run by Larry Correia of Monster Hunter International fame. Yeah. There's the Writing Tribe, which is run by, what the hell's her real name? Valerie Giunta out of Atlanta. She's good. The biggest thing, though, is what Larry calls BICHOK. BICHOK. Butt in chair, hands on keyboard. You can say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna write tonight," but if you're not actually at the keyboard, you're not getting shit done. Fair. And that was one of Stephen King's few pieces of good writing advice. If you're going to write for a living, treat it like your job.
I like it. No, that's true. And I really think that if you put in the effort that you're trying to put into, it eventually comes, hey, we started goofing off, talking in a group chat. The next thing I knew, we have a podcast that's been viewed by 12,000 people on a dozen and a half different platforms, so it's
these
things
pretty amazing, take off when you don't expect it.
You just got to put the work in, and that's the kind of thing that I like going on, and that's kind of like why I like having folks like yourself on here, is to come and have the opportunity to share your work and stuff like that, because you have put in such heart and soul, and everybody needs a platform, I think, that can, they can come and talk about these kind of things and just have a good time. And I really do appreciate you this evening coming on here and hanging out with us and sharing so much with us.
Appreciate you having me. I'll try to be back around more often, at least watching and commenting.
Nice. And of course, everybody that's out there, they can find your website, of course, here, that's got your book on it with your stuff, a little bit of bio and stuff that I found of you, man. Like I'm digging your little website, and this link, as well as your whatever other links that we want for you to get back to you will be with this episode, everywhere where it's viewed, listened to, and on unconstitutionalawakening.com. I always like to go around and see if there's any kind of like final thoughts or feelings or anything you'd like to say to the folks out there listening and watching at home before we get
for anybody watching. Read the book, and if you read the book, rate the book. If you rate the book, review the book.
Nice. Yeah, you guys will. I will make sure that you can get links where you can check it out over there on Amazon, as well as his website. You guys, like, I happen to have Kindle because I do all of this stuff, and I get books thrown at me left and right.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's definitely where I devoured it down at, and I threw it to the rest of the crew, because like I made the joke earlier, we are basically a hockey team. There's 9 of us running around here now, and it's complete
that
chaos,
works though, man. Life's the team sport,
and it is. And since we're scattered all over the globe now, and we have just different viewpoints and perspectives, and it does good for conversating. So, Luis, you got anything good for me this evening before we get ready to sign out? Any final questions? Any nothing?
All good, and it was really fun and amazing experience to listen to your feedback on all these questions. It was such great creativity you have in your mind.
Thank you.
It is. I did. I had a really great time. And you guys know that I always like to leave it on a good high note in the evening time, have something fun for you guys to laugh at. And since we're currently not doing any of the sticker giveaways on this bring back, we got something better going on for you. I'm working on some jokes and leaving you guys with something to laugh for. So, and I promise tonight, I'm not going to make a Hitler joke like I did the other night. Luis told me that was not good. So we'll stay away from those a little bit more if I need to, because I think we made enough Hitler jokes tonight as it is. So, what do tofu and dildos have in common?
Don't know.
They're both meat substitutes. You guys have a fantastic evening. We'll see you later.